French President Emmanuel Macron stood up in a cabinet meeting and said something that should terrify Washington. He said France will never take part in operations to open or liberate the Strait of Hormuz in the current context. Trump had just spent days begging NATO allies to join a naval coalition. Germany said no, the UK said no, Italy, Spain, Japan, South Korea all said no. But France's refusal isn't just about one country walking away. France can say no because they've built the infrastructure to keep Europe stable without Middle Eastern oil, and that changes everything. Let me show you what's actually happening here, because this isn't about diplomatic disagreement. This is about France positioning itself as Europe's energy anchor while the US fights wars over fossil fuel choke points. I'm Elif Housevel on YouTube. I have a PhD in computer science, and I use data analysis to spot patterns in geopolitics and economics. The Strait of Hormuz carries about 20% of global oil shipments. When Iran effectively closed it in early March after the US-Israel strikes, oil prices jumped 40%. European natural gas prices shot up 63% in a week. The US started a war without consulting allies, triggered an energy crisis, and then expected Europe to send warships to clean it all up. Trump called it shocking that allies refused. He called NATO has a very bad future if they don't help. He called UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer no Churchill. He said Macron will be out of office very soon. And then when nobody joined, Trump pivoted to saying, we don't need too much help. We don't need any help. But here's what most coverage is missing, I think. France didn't refuse to protect French interests. France refused because they're already protecting European interests by running the nuclear fleet that powers the continent while the US fights for oil. France generates 67% of its electricity from nuclear reactors, 57 reactors across 18 sites, with a total capacity of 62.9 gigawatts. That gives France one of the lowest carbon electricity systems in Europe at 85 grams of CO2 per kilowatt hour and the cheapest electricity prices on the whole continent. But here's the critical piece. France isn't just powering itself. In 2024, France exported 103 terawatt hours of electricity to its neighbors, a 48% increase from the year before. That electricity went to Belgium, Germany, Spain, Switzerland, the UK, and Italy. France is literally keeping the lights on across Europe. When we dig into the actual production numbers, France increased electricity generation by 45 terawatt hours in 2024, while domestic consumption stayed relatively flat. Nuclear output went from 320 terawatt hours in 2023 to 361 terawatt hours in 2024. That surplus doesn't disappear. It flows across borders through interconnectors, stabilizing grids from Brussels to Madrid. Just think about what that means strategically. While oil prices spiked 40% because of a conflict in the Middle East, France's electricity costs barely move because nuclear fuel costs are stable and domestic. When Macron refuses to send French ships to the Strait of Hormuz, he is not abandoning Europe. He's protecting the infrastructure that actually keeps Europe running. And France is doubling down. In February 2026, France published its third multi-annual energy program, setting nuclear production targets at 380 to 420 terawatt hours per year by 2030 to 2035. The plan calls for extending existing reactor lifespans to 50 or 60 years, constructing 6 new EPR2 reactors, and potentially building 8 more after that. President Macron plans to begin construction on the first reactor before his term ends in May 2027. And this isn't just French energy policy. France is pushing for the EU to recognize nuclear power on equal footing with renewables, advocating for a decarbonized energy directive instead of renewables-only targets. And critically, Germany announced in May 2025 that it would no longer oppose French efforts to incorporate nuclear into European legislation, which is a massive shift for a country that closed its last nuclear plants in 2023. Meanwhile, the UK is building the other pillar of European energy independence. The UK just secured Europe's largest offshore wind auction, 8.4 gigawatts of capacity, enough to power 12 million homes. North Sea oil and gas production has dropped 75% from 1999 to 2024, so the UK isn't clinging to fossil fuels either. They're actually racing towards renewables as well. By the way, if you want to sharpen your ability to read between the lies on stories like this, I wrote a book called Awake, the Practice of Critical Thinking in an Age of Self-Lies. It's available as an ebook and audiobook. Subscribers get 10% off, and you can grab the first chapter for free in the description below. So what does this mean for American power? When Trump begged for a coalition, he revealed dependence ultimately. The US needed help securing a waterway that France and the UK have already replaced with domestic infrastructure. Europe's energy transition isn't just about climate, it is about severing the structural link to Middle Eastern oil that has defined Western foreign policy for the last 50 years. And look at how this played out. Countries like India, Turkey, and Pakistan negotiated directly with Iran for safe passage through the strait. 2 Indian flag tankers crossed safely, a Turkish vessel got clearance, Pakistan launched its own escort operation. Europe is choosing the same path. Macron said France would only consider joining an escort mission after the fighting ends, and only with Iranian involvement in the framework. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said there is no appetite in the EU to join Trump's coalition, calling it not Europe's war. That phrasing matters a huge deal. We have a separate video on that as well. Europe is treating the US-Iran conflict as someone else's problem. Even though European energy prices spiked, the calculation is essentially negotiate for passage if needed or wait it out, because Europe's baseline energy security runs through French nuclear reactors and UK offshore wind farms, not the Strait of Hormuz. And from a currency perspective, this accelerates dollar displacement. Iranian oil still flows, 25 tankers laden with Iranian crude are operating in the Persian Gulf, often selling to China in yuan. Meanwhile, France is exporting electricity across Europe in euros, and the UK is building wind capacity that reduces fossil fuel imports denominated in dollars. The US built a global system where controlling Middle Eastern oil justified military presence, alliance commitments, and dollar dominance. France and the UK built nuclear and wind infrastructure instead, so they're not sending ships. And here's what I think is going to happen next. I think France will formalize its role as Europe's energy backbone. I'm watching for expanded interconnector capacity between France and its neighbors, allowing even more nuclear capacity to flow across borders. France's new reactors aren't just about French demand, they're about positioning France as the reliable baseload supplier for a continent transitioning away from fossil fuels. The UK will probably continue scaling offshore wind to complement French nuclear. Together, they create a European energy system that doesn't structurally depend on Middle Eastern oil or American military guarantees to access it. Germany, which historically opposed nuclear power, is already shifting position to accommodate this new reality. And the next time the US starts a war in an oil-producing region and asks Europe to help secure energy supplies, the answer will be the same. No, because we build different infrastructure. Trump spent his first term complaining that NATO allies don't pay their fair share. Now NATO allies are declining to pay because they've built energy systems that make American resource wars unnecessary for European security. That is not alliance drift. That is Europe choosing French nuclear and UK wind over American military logistics. The transatlantic partnership was built on shared dependence. Europe needed American security guarantees to access energy. America needed European support for resource wars. France just broke that equation with 57 nuclear reactors, 103 terawatt-hours of cross-border electricity exports, and the willingness to tell Trump no while keeping Europe's lights on. Right now, go watch the video on your screen about how the petrodollar is dying at the Strait of Hormuz as Iran only allows safe passage to ships trading in yuan. This is still happening and is shifting the dollar away from being the world's reserve currency. The pieces are moving faster than people realize. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.